Good morning. Hi, I'm Dr. Virginia Young, Senior Administrator of the Mazie Woodruff Center and the Chair of Human Services, Technology, and Teacher Education here at Forsyth Tech. Both of those classes are housed here in this building. We are just delighted that you would come out and join us for our annual Black History Month program at the Woodruff Center. We're honoring a legacy, Mrs. Woodruff, and we're delighted that you're going to be a part of that celebration this morning. So, before we get started, I would like to ask all faculty from the Mazie Woodruff Center to please stand. If you're already standing, if you'll wave your hand. I'd also like the students who are taking classes at the Mazie Woodruff Center, or you're either in the Early Childhood Program, Human Services, College Transfer, if you would also stand. Thank you for being here. And we have a few outside working. So on behalf of the faculty, staff, and students of the Mazie Woodruff Center, we say welcome. And we're just, I'm going to keep saying that word delighted because we truly are, that you would come and celebrate with us this morning. So, in addition to that, I'd like to thank Forsyth Tech faculty and staff from other campuses, leaders, our executive leadership team, our president, Dr. Spriggs, Dr. Murdoch, he's here somewhere, who's over the centers, as well as everyone who made this possible. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about that in just a moment. But we'd also like to thank all government officials who are here today, ministers, pastors, community leaders, anyone who's working in our county to help just make a difference in this community. So, and I'd also like to highlight the rich partnership that we have here at the Woodruff Center. There's so much that happens from day to day, but we cannot do it without one another. So across the college, we've had so much support in making all of what we're going to do today possible. So, and also I want to highlight that you will see a wonderful mural at the end of the program. Our artist is here, and you'll hear more about him later. Artist Leo Rucker. I'd like to thank Executive Director Christy for being a sounding board and helping, and we've just been running everywhere. But the faculty of Human Services and Teacher Education, I've been sticking cameras in your face, running up to people at the last minute, Mrs. Burke, just everyone talking to you, calling you at the last minute saying, hey, I just thought of something, will you be a part of this? So thank you. But I do want to pause specifically thank, in addition to the foundation, that foundation team, Julie, Jenny, Trish, Lauren, who was a part of planning, not only that, but the team that came in to set up the room, Keith, Robert, Bobby, Jamie, Corey, James, Lewis, Brent. Did I forget anyone? And also Paula, your team with marketing was amazing. So thank you so very, very much. As we transition now, we're going to just ask you to join us wholeheartedly in community as we celebrate Mrs. Mazie Woodruff.
What Virginia says, and I do thank you all for being here. This is a wonderful day, and we are going to learn things that we didn't know about Miss Woodruff and hear some from her family, and I'm really excited about that. I have the honor of introducing Dr. Spriggs, our president of Forsyth Tech. Dr. Spriggs became the 7th president for Forsyth Tech on January 2019, January 1st. Prior to joining Forsyth Tech, she served in various executive leadership roles at Rowan Cabarrus Community College for 7 years, including developing and leading a new division for student success as the college's chief operating officer. Prior to coming to Rowan Cabarrus, Dr. Spriggs served the students at Carteret Community College for 15 years. She's got over 22 years experience in the community college system. Dr. Spriggs earned her doctorate in higher education administration from Northeastern University. Her thesis focused on understanding the experiences of successful low-income community college students and expanded research on effective institutional persistence strategies, creating a new student success team model for admissions, student services, financial aid, and career and academic advising that she and her Rowan Cabarrus team implemented in fall 2017. Dr. Spriggs is passionate about the power of education to change lives. We've seen that here at the college just in the 1 year and a couple months that she's been here. She has the education changes lives, and it's a vital role community college plays as catalyst for workforce and economic development. She is dedicated to fostering high-quality learning, improving completion, advancing equity of success for all students, and expanding postgraduate success. Dr. Spriggs is an active member of her community. She is a Rotarian and is currently serving on the boards of the Winston-Salem Alliance, the Winston-Salem Chamber, and the Winston-Salem Business Incorporated. And I'd like to welcome Dr. Spriggs to say a few words.
Thank you very much, both Christy and Virginia. That was a wonderful introduction. And Virginia, Dr. Young, could you hold on just a second? Last year when we met here, and many of you, I recognize your faces, and I've had the opportunity this past year to get to know you. It was just Mrs. Virginia Young last year. Today it's Dr. Virginia Young. She recently completed her doctorate. We are an institution of higher education, and we are always so proud of our faculty and staff when they continue their lifelong learning journey as well. So thank you for that, Virginia. I am excited today to welcome all of you here to Mazie Woodruff Center for our annual Black History Month. This, of course, is my second year, only my second year of being able to attend this event. Last year, I'd only been in my role about a month when I came to welcome everyone to this event. We are a little crowded in here this year, which is a great thing to see, but it's primarily because we can't open that back wall because we are one of the early voting sites, which is an important part of our of this center being a community center. So I apologize for the crowdedness, but if you haven't voted, you may do so after the program. I think we're here till 7:30, and please make sure to have your voice heard. I would also, on that vein, let me introduce to you some of our elected officials that are here. I hope I won't miss anyone. If I do, please raise your hand and let me know that I haven't seen you yet. I do see that Congressman Mark Walker has joined us. Congressman Walker, thank you so much for being here today. We also have with us some of our great friends from the County Commission. We have Commissioner Fleming Elamine here on the second row. Commissioner Gloria Wisenhunt right behind. We have Commissioner Richard Linville, and we also have from the county, the person that keeps the commissioners at the place they're supposed to be all the time, Ashley Sloop, the clerk to the commission board. Thank you for being here, Ashley. Are there any other elected officials here that I did not see? Oh, Ms. Burke, I am so sorry. I just talked to you. I'm going to be introducing her in just a moment. Ms. Barbara Burke from the Board of Education, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. It is my privilege and my great honor to serve as the president of this esteemed institution, to serve the students and to serve our community. I've met so many wonderful people in the community, and I truly wish that it had been my privilege to have known Ms. Mazie Woodruff. From all that I have heard, she truly is renowned in our community. Her legacy reminds me of a quote from Wilma Rudolph, an Olympic champion and a woman who was definitely ahead of her time. She said, "Never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of the human spirit. We are all the same in this notion. The potential for greatness lives within each of us." Mrs. Woodruff shared her greatness to step up, to serve, and to take an active role in her community. As the first African American elected to the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners, Mrs. Woodruff served for 14 years on the board and was elected vice chair in 1994. She was recognized with the Charles McLean Public Service Award and was the Winston-Salem Chronicle Woman of the Year in 1988. She had so many people who believed in her potential, but yet still she remained quite humble, from what I'm told. Today, we are gathered to share her memory and her legacy, and also to celebrate her as a champion for public education, for the voice to those who could not speak for themselves, and the model of what public service is and should be what we all hope to achieve. In her memory, not only is this center named for her, the Forsyth Tech also named our new Aviation Technology Lab. There's a rendering to my right. If you haven't had a chance to see that soon, that rendering will become an actual building. The progress is well underway for building our new Mazie Woodruff Aviation Technology Lab at Smith Reynolds Airport. Here at our center and at the lab, students will have the opportunity to learn valuable skills that will provide them with great careers in the aviation industry. We hope that Ms. Mazie would be proud of the trail that she blazed for so many others. In addition to her incredible public service, Mrs. Woodruff was also a devoted mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother with 7 children, 15 grandchildren, and 13 great-grandchildren, at last count at least. You will soon hear more about her personally from her family members, those who have the most to tell. Miss Millicent Woodruff, who I had the opportunity to meet just a few moments ago, and Mr. Kenneth Woodruff Jr. Ms. Woodruff loved education and she loved helping others. That is why in 2017, we, Forsyth Tech, established the Mazie Woodruff Scholarship, which is awarded each year to a second-year student who is enrolled right here at Mazie Woodruff Center. You will hear more about that scholarship in just a few moments from our Vice President, Mr. Bill Green. Like Mazie Woodruff, we also today have a woman in our community, a lady of distinction with her own legacy of service. Unfortunately, Council Member Dr. Vivian Burke could not be here with us today. But as I mentioned, and as you heard earlier, her daughter-in-law, Ms. Barbara Burke, is here today. These remarks are written as if I'm talking to Ms. Vivian, so let me see if I'm smart enough to figure out how to change that. When we all heard that Dr. Burke was not going to run again for City Council, we were surprised. Even after having been here for only a year, I know the mark that she has made in service to her city. But I was even more surprised when I heard that she had served for 42 years on the City Council. Wow, that deserves a round of applause. In 1977, Dr. Burke and Mrs. Virginia Newell started together on what used to be the Winston-Salem Board of Aldermen as the first 2 female African-American members. She made great progress throughout her tenure, showing that her commitment was always to her community. Today, we want to thank Dr. Burke for what she has accomplished for the city and for our community. Her dedicated work as an educator, a city council member, and the first African-American woman to serve as mayor pro tem, and the first woman to chair Public Safety Committee has made the community better and stronger together. It would take a while if I were to try to cite all the commendations and awards, but Dr. Burke has lived her life as an example of service and how to make life better for our community. Ms. Burke, if you would please join me at the podium. And I have, Virginia, do I have, I'm sorry, let's get the award. Oh, thank you. On behalf of Forsyth Tech, from our heart, we appreciate everything that Dr. Burke has done for Winston-Salem, and we just have a special certificate of appreciation that we would like to present to you for Dr. Burke in honor of all those things that she has done for us. Thank you so very much.
On behalf of my mother-in-law, Dr. Vivian H. Burke, I would like to say thank you for this honor. It is
definitely an honor to be honored at the same time that Mazie Woodruff is being honored, because she is a legacy in our community, and we value and appreciate all of her service, everything that she has done regarding education and making our community a better place to live. So on behalf of Dr. Burke, I say thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, and please share with Dr. Burke that we truly appreciate her being the champion for the Northeast Ward, right? Northeast Ward, and very grateful for her service. As the president of the University of Massachusetts, Mary Meehan, said, Black History Month must be more than just a month of remembrance. It should be a tribute to our history and reminder of the work that lies in the months and years ahead. Thank you all for being here today, and I am going to now, I guess we're going to have a musical selection, is that right, Virginia? So lift every voice. Thank you so much.
I want everybody to join in and sing this song. They got the words on the screen. Lift every voice and sing till heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness is on us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Slowly the road we trod, bitter the chance may run, filled the days with hope, unborn has died, yet with a steady beat, and not a weary feet, come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that the tears have been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last. Where the red wing of our song is stands.
Mrs. Millicent Woodruff, Woodruff. Can you hear me on this? Mrs. Millicent Woodruff is a fourth generation Woodruff, and she is currently working for the North Carolina State, and she is a proud HBCU graduate with her undergraduate degree in biology from Elizabeth City State University, and she holds a master's in food and nutrition science from North Carolina A&T. So, But before she graces us with her presence, I'd like the whole Woodruff family, anyone who's part of the Woodruff family, to please stand. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to tell you about Mr. Kenneth Woodruff Jr. because once I finish talking, both of them will come up and share some very wonderful stories about Mrs. Woodruff. Mr. Kenneth Woodruff Jr., also known as Ken, is a college-level educator with 20 years of experience working in sociology and research in colleges across the country. He is also a part of the NC Community College family, as he is a psychology instructor at Central Piedmont Community College. He also attended North Carolina A&T and Radford University, where his interest in teaching was furthered due to his positive learning experiences. Post-graduation, he began a career in experimental research, working at the University of Chicago, Northwestern University. His research career transitioned from the laboratory setting to an academic setting because of his ongoing passion to teach. He has since worked at various universities where student development, learning, and mentoring has been the highest importance to him. His teaching philosophy was formed from a love of learning, and he wanted to spark interest, but it also sparked from his grandmother, Mrs. Woodruff. It also stems from his belief that he can motivate others to learn by teaching with clarity, passion, empathy, and sincere enthusiasm. Please join me in welcoming both Mrs. Millicent Woodruff and then to follow Mr. Kenneth Woodruff Jr.
My grandmother. My grandmother reminded me before I got up here to be sincere, be brief, and be seated. So on that note, my great-grandmother always worked with the mindset of, I can't carry you to where you're going, but if I'm able to help you out along the journey, then let's go. So I can honestly say that being privileged to grow up in the same household with this enigmatic woman of God who had a larger-than-life personality, who always had a willingness to serve and help and inspire others is something that has truly been one of my greatest blessings in life that God has afforded me, and I continually learn from it each day. So at times it's easy to see why there can be a disconnect between people due to having lack of faith. Maybe the politicians and the people who actually we want to represent us, they'll campaign, they'll ask for our vote, and then later on down the line, they may end up seeming to be somewhat self-indulgent or fickle or even undependable. So in line with today's theme of celebrating a legacy, I am Mazie Woodruff, I kind of wanted to give you each maybe 5 brief characteristics or things about my great-grandmother that could also possibly inspire you in your everyday life or as you're going out to pick your next political candidate. So first, the one thing that I can say about her is that she was a mover. When I say a mover, if you've ever had the opportunity to work with her, if you've ever met her, if you've ever read about her, there is no way that you can campaign to get land for school, you can mentor emerging political leaders, you can talk to the governor, you can be present at all family events and functions, and active in the church and still grow some of the best tomatoes that you've ever had without being a mover. And I guess the thing is, she was always ready to go, on the go, willing to speak up for people, fight for people, advocate, fight with you, well not with you, but fight for you, or fight with you depending on the cause. But she was almost so much of a mover that she seemed omnipresent at times. Now, I wasn't one of the ones of my cousins where she popped up on them at school or anything to check on them, but I've heard some stories. But I think the thing that threw me off, if you've ever tried to throw a snowball at a lady in her early 70s, it sounds much easier than what it was with this one. She could throw a snowball so quick, pop you in the face, and then by the time you get it together, she's already ran through the back of the house, taking off her shoes and a coat, just sitting watching TV. That's the mover I know. And to be able to look out amongst all these faces, I know that there's no way that you could inspire and impact this many lives without being a mover.
Secondly, she was always accountable, and she held herself to such standards. Anything she put her name on or behind, she was accountable for. If she put her name behind you, or whatever you were fighting for, you were going to be held accountable just as much as she was going to hold herself accountable till it was done. And she always kept in mind that there was a bigger picture. You know, how could I be somebody that people want to rely on, put their vote and their trust in, if I'm not holding myself accountable in my personal life as well as out in public? And she always made sure to hold her family accountable for the things that they committed to as well. This is my favorite thing about her. And I was reading a plaque, and it was given to her from Governor Jim Hunt, and it said, awarded to Mazie Woodruff for her integrity and her zeal. Now, zeal is something different. It's mentioned in the Bible about 54 times, so it must be somewhat important. So I'm going to tie it together to you with these two verses. Romans 12:11 says, do not lose your zeal when working for the Lord, for that's who you're working for. And later on down in Colossians, I think that, that's behind Romans, further down. Colossians 3:23-24 says, in whatever you do, do it with all your heart, as if you are working for the Lord, not human masters, for the Lord will give you your inheritance as a reward, for it's him you're serving. And those two verses tied together really do embody the tireless work that she did in the community, advocating for everybody. She honestly had one of the most genuine and sweetest spirits that you could have ever come across. And her zeal for life and whatever it was that she was putting her mind towards, she was working for, it was so infectious that it almost made you, well, it did make you re-examine yourself and the things that you were passionate about to make sure that you were on the right track. Next, I would say I really do admire her intelligence, because it wasn't just an academic intelligence. She had this type of intelligence that transcended academic. It was emotional, it was spiritual, it was mental. And so to raise 7 children who all managed to stay out of trouble from what they told me, and still be active in the community and serve on various different boards, you really have to have a type of intelligence to know, that some things I can change and some things I can't. She knew that with a little bit of prayer and patience, sometimes God he'll move the mountain for you. Sometimes he might say no, or not just yet, or wait a little bit. But either way, she also had the intelligence to pray for the wisdom so that she could not only, think well, but she could also thoughtfully act in a way that was pleasing to God. And that is something that was truly very important to her, to make sure that her life, the Christian example that she set, was something that she allowed God's light for everybody to see as she came across you in the community. And lastly, I would like to say that she knew how to be empathetic. She had a way of giving you or showing you empathy without too much sympathy, so that it didn't undermine your full potential at the end of the day. One of the greatest qualities about a true leader is the fact that they're able to actually empathize and put themselves in the shoes of the people that they're either leading or serving. She knew that regardless of anybody's race, creed, nationality, sex, origin, whatever the case may be, that everybody deserved the opportunity to be treated with respect, civility, and trust. And at the end of the day, she knew that when she knew that when people were inspired by a purpose greater or larger than themselves, that so much could be accomplished, let alone if you gave them a little bit of help. So as I leave, I just want you to remember that we're not merely put here to just make a living. You're actually put here in order to empower the world, so that way people can live more abundantly, so that they can also have greater vision for their life, and that they can continue to live with hope and faith and triumph for the future. So as you go about in your daily life, remember to be a mover who's accountable, who exhibits zeal, intelligence, and empathy in everything you do. Be amazing. M-A-Z-I-E.
time we spoke with Mazie Woodruff was August. She organized her neighborhood for National Night Out, crime prevention effort. Mazie Woodruff was a friend of governors, Republican and Democrat, but she considered herself a servant, not a big shot. Earlene Farman was a close friend and colleague of Woodruff's.
Whether it was volunteer service as the Meal on Wheels, a volunteer working with people from the Department of Social Services, working on making sure that we had clean water in this county and adjoining counties.
Mazie Woodruff was elected to the Board of Commissioners in 1976, the same year Jimmy Carter was elected president. She was the first black ever to win an at-large race in Forsyth County. It wasn't easy being a political trailblazer. Woodruff lost her bid for re-election in 1980. She won her seat back in 84, only to lose it again in 88. Under pressure from the courts, Forsyth County switched to district elections in 1990. A predominantly black district elected Woodruff to the board, where she remained until her death. Pete Brunstetter is chairman of the county commissioners.
We always refer to her as the spiritual leader of our board, and this is a board that values spiritual leadership. She had a Christ-like approach to everybody she dealt with. She ministered to people constantly. I think she was driving Meals on Wheels, even in her 70s, to people who were shut in, less fortunate.
Indeed she was. The Woodruff granddaughter says she also made time for her large family.
She's an awesome lady, but whenever family, her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren needed her, everything stopped, and she was there. Everything. Family came first.
That was my sister, the last. She was actually supposed to speak to the last to be here because I just really wanted to kind of let everyone know that my being here wasn't in the plan at first, and it never is in the plan, but it's in God's plan. So I just try to keep that information present. So I wanted to talk about my grandmother. First, by just repeating a few words from Maya Angelou, and she had a wonderful sentiment that said, "Now you must understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or get rowdy and loud. When you see me passing, you ought to make you proud. I say it's in the click of my heels, it's in the bend of my hair, it's in the palm of Grandma's hands. It's in the need for her care. It's because she was a phenomenal woman indeed." And that is one of the things that I wanted to impart today, is that if you knew her, then you were blessed to know her, and to get that information from her is gold. I remember my dad would take me to the barber shop, and we would stop by and talk with her, and she would tell us numerous stories about Meals on Wheels and how she would go around and check on people. And she saved so many lives because of so many people who were shut in and had no one to check on them, and she would get them help and assistance and just be that extra push, that extra thing. And she would definitely come by, check in the classrooms, make sure you was doing what you're supposed to do, because I was not the best student. I was a person who was outside the classroom in the hallway, and Grandma would always say, "Well, how can you learn in the hallway?" And so it was a point where, in time, where you had to just trust and know that she knew more, and she would invest in you to be, that person you could be, because she had people all in the city that would check on you and always know who you were. And so if you were a Woodruff, you had to carry that name with pride and represent, because someone would always know her or know you in that situation. You might not know them, but they know you. And so in that situation, we would always have to be on our P's and Q's and have to be respectful and kind and try to be trustworthy like she was. But I just didn't understand it when she would come to all of our graduations. I mean, all of her kids graduated from college, and sadly she didn't make it to my master's graduation, and I dedicated that to her. But I remember just wanting to give up and kind of quit after she passed away, and it was like, no, this is what she wanted you to do. She wanted you to keep going no matter what, and keep that education and that tradition in our family. And I think that's why the majority of the Woodruffs are teachers, because it's in our blood. And I think that she instilled that in us and invested in us that effort to just care and to invest in others. And I think that's what education is about. It's just about passing that information on and making sure that you use that information for the betterment of yourself and the community. And I believe that if we all just kind of take a minute to check on each other like she would, take a minute to just make sure that you're okay. And that was just the main thing, that she wanted to make sure that we were all okay. And the last thing she told me before she died was that we should stick together. And I think that says a lot. You have so much going on in the world today, and it's just important, no matter what race, color, creed we are, that we stick together, because we're all in this together. So I'll leave on that note and say that she was definitely a phenomenal woman. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And she definitely was the truth.
According to her family and community leaders, Mrs. Woodruff motivated and mobilized effective change to empower others for sustainable economic solutions. She wanted every child to succeed educationally and to be a well-rounded individual who made decisions that set their lives on a sound path. A primary goal of Mrs. Woodruff was to change the landscape around her. Her vision parallels well with ours as a catalyst for equitable economic mobility, empowering lives and transforming communities.
When she had an initiative or she had something on her mind that she wanted to accomplish for the community, she stuck with it and she got it done. She loved the community and she wanted to help those that were in the community. And we here at the Carver School Road branch, we try to do the same.
This concept that she had and the concept that our president has, the 4 basic principles that we build our school upon, is implied here. And I think Miss Woodruff envisioned all this and incorporated all into many aspects of our educational program.
We are carrying it on and connecting to the vision of the late Miss Mazie Woodruff in empowering students to be the best that they can be as teachers of young children. We want them to see what it looks like to work with preschool children in a prepared environment, so that when they go into the market, they're able to find jobs so that they can work with children and families in the broader community.
She wanted economic mobility, equality for everyone. All these things are built into the Woodruff Center.
And if she said that she was going to do something, her word was her bond. If she said it, she meant it, and she got it done. I always admired her for that. She wasn't about no social status and things like that. Miss Mazie got the work done.
I am so glad and proud that this center was named for her, because this center represents many things that we as a college stand for today.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry. I thought I was attached to something. I'm Bill Green. I work with our charitable foundation at Forsyth Tech, and I'm representing our colleague, Angela Cook, who is in your program. Angela, unfortunately, was ill and was not able to be here today and asked me to step in for her. But on behalf of Angela and all of our foundation staff, we're proud to be a part of today's celebration of Black History Month and the amazing legacy of Mrs. Mazie Woodruff, and also of our beloved friend, Dr. Vivian Burke. As Dr. Spriggs mentioned, the Forsyth Tech Foundation established the Mazie Woodruff Scholarship in 2017 to honor Mrs. Woodruff's notable community service. The scholarship is awarded to a second-year student who is studying at this center. That student has to maintain a grade point ratio of 3.0. And like Mrs. Woodruff, the scholarship recipient has to be heavily involved in his or her community, as well as paying attention to their academic responsibilities. The scholarship started with a goal of $2,500 and has already raised a little over $11,000. Our goal in the foundation is to take this Mazie Woodruff Scholarship up to the $25,000 level. At that point, we can make it into an endowment to ensure that the money is available on a permanent basis to support these students. And frankly, that's why I'm up here to hold my hand out and ask for your help. Any gift you choose to make to the Mazie Woodruff Scholarship, big or small, has a huge impact. You can do that at any time at foundation.forsythtech.edu. We've also got some pledge cards here that will be available after the program. So we ask for your consideration, and even if you choose not to make a gift, know that the work of Mrs. Woodruff continues in so many ways, including through this scholarship, and we're just delighted to be able to help our deserving students to complete their educational pathways. So thank you so much.
Since 1998, Forsyth Tech's Woodruff Center has embraced the college's continuous mission to equip individuals for career and personal growth opportunities. Forsyth Tech's current vision statement reflects another way our organization will continue to honor and celebrate the legacy of Mrs. Woodruff as we serve students and the community. It is impossible to fully capture the impact that Mrs. Woodruff has made on our community. However, we do have a few stories to share.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by transforming the community and empowering lives. As a Director of Student Services for Quality Education Academy High School here in Winston-Salem, where I have proudly been since 2004, I have the opportunity to work very closely with students, ensuring that they are academically in place and positioned to go to college.
I am continuing Ms. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives as I continue to help students here at Forsyth Tech while helping them receive their financial aid and helping them along their educational journey here at Forsyth Tech.
I'm continuing Ms. Woodruff's legacy by transforming communities as I go out into Stokes County and assist students in that specific area. Our students in this area see themselves as part of being the Mazie Woodruff Center, so I think that really helps students feel a connection to Forsyth Tech that they may not normally feel, which helps to fulfill our vision within the early childhood program.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives. I collaborate with the counselors, teachers, and administrators to identify qualified high school students who are prepared and ready to take college courses.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives as I help students and the public to reach their educational goal in the Marvin Allen Computer Lab.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by transforming communities. I assist hundreds and hundreds of students become human services professionals.
I'm continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives as I present learning opportunities for my students from various backgrounds and cultures.
I am continuing the Mazie Woodruff legacy by supporting economic mobility through advising, outreach, scholarship, financial incentives in order to support our students to return or begin their early childhood education.
I'm continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by transforming communities. I teach the early childhood teachers that will go out into the community and educate our future.
I'm continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by empowering communities as I partner with all of our off-site centers and the communities that they serve, specifically at Mazie Woodruff, by finding innovative ways to increase student success and the students in our area.
I am continuing Ms. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives as a security officer at Forsyth Tech. And what I do is make people feel safe to be able to come to class, be able to study, and use the environment to learn and be conducive to getting a degree and going out and helping the community. So everybody has to do their part, and my part including keeping them safe where they can come and do the best that they can for the community.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives through connecting students, faculty, and the public with each other for success. As they contact me for information, my goal is to personally care by listening and directing them.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy as I serve in many capacities in the community. The work that I lead and support aligns with transforming communities by positioning others to achieve their educational goals and pursuits.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by embracing Forsyth Tech's vision statement. I have the privilege to partner with faculty, staff, and students in support of education in our county. The work that we do here at the Woodruff Center positions students to build their own economic mobility as they gain employment opportunities in the field of education and human services.
I am continuing Ms. Woodruff's legacy by transforming communities. As an overseer of this center, at night, I have the opportunity to help students and community partners to enrich their lives, especially those that work during the day.
I am continuing her legacy by transforming communities. And this transformation will begin with our children. After graduating from Winston-Salem State University, I worked for the Forsyth County court system, and I saw firsthand children who had not been loved and nurtured. And now, being an intern in the program at the Mazie Woodruff Center, I have learned many things.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by transforming communities as I coordinate the school-age program at Forsyth Tech. In this role, I established partnerships with various schools and child care centers in the community. I encourage students to keep building their education by transferring to a 4-year college or university.
I'm continuing Ms. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives. In the lab school, we empower lives like helping children choose the right decisions, and we work, me and Ms. Lakeisha, just as a team. And of course, we're gonna help the interns when they come here.
I am continuing Ms. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives by building my economic mobility here, currently as an employee at Forsyth Tech. I'm learning with the field as it evolves and as it grows, but I'm also able to transform lives through the children in which we serve here that I'm able to teach, and I learn from them daily, but to help them and to have them ready for the next level in their lives, which is kindergarten.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives. I enjoy working with the students, working with the children, just helping them go about their day and have a successful week and a semester.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by employing educators from Forsyth Tech here at our child care facility. We are the only licensed child care center located in Walkertown, and our goal is to empower the lives of families that live within this area.
I am continuing Miss Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives to giving back to the community as I am employed as a North Carolina pre-K teacher working in the field of early childhood with children ages 4 and 5.
I am continuing Miss Woodruff's legacy by transforming communities at the Bethesda Center for the Homeless as a community case manager. I link them up with resources and services that they might not necessarily be able to get on their own, and try to get them to come into the shelter. If they don't want to, then we just work with them where they're at.
I'm continuing Ms. Woodruff's legacy by transforming my community. I, as the shelter director for Bethesda Center for the Homeless, help the city's homeless population transition, hopefully into housing. We definitely get them off the street, find them a warm bed, get them a warm meal.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives. And what I mean by that is to help the homeless to have confidence in themselves that if they use the resources that is given to them, then they can climb up and get back into society and live a happy life again.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by creating equitable economic mobility opportunities. As the Dean of Engineering Technologies, I'm in charge of opening up our new aviation lab that's going to be housed over at Smith Reynolds Airport, very, very close to Mazie Woodruff Center. We'll be using those facilities as the home base and driving economic mobility, offering students a new opportunity or different opportunities to join the aviation industry in the Piedmont Triad region that is growing.
I'm continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by creating equitable economic mobility. We at the Small Business Center help people to start and grow their businesses. Many times we offer our educational events at the Mazie Woodruff Center. Many people who come to the Mazie Woodruff Center are coming there for the first time, so we are glad to introduce people to who Mazie Woodruff is.
I am continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by empowering lives and transforming communities. The Imagine 2025 guiding team is partnering with the college community to redesign the college experience, and we are intentional about this work. The end product is the cultural transformation of Forsyth Tech. Everyone at the college is key in creating cultural belonging, which is more inclusive for all.
I'm continuing Mrs. Woodruff's legacy by creating opportunities to support equitable economic mobility to empower lives that will transform communities. As co-lead of Imagine 2025, I have the opportunity to collaborate with internal and external stakeholders to provide the connections our students need within the college and in the community so that they can continue to celebrate little successes along the way and achieve their dream, whatever it may be.
The work that we do at the Woodruff Center does not only provide educational options, but it also allows us to serve and welcome the community individually and collectively as we fulfill our mission and vision at Forsyth Tech.
I am Mazie Woodruff.
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 Those were wonderful videos that we would not be able to have done without our CTL and our ITS team. I would also like to thank Dr. Virginia Young. She is the one who spearheaded this, put this together, coordinated across the community and across the college. The future of the Mazie Woodruff Center and where are we going in the new decade that we just started and way past that. Beginning in March 2020, we will have the EMT Basic Program housed here at the Mazie Woodruff Center, which will allow students to come in and get a certificate in the emergency medical field. We also, as you've seen, have the new aviation program scheduled to begin in fall 2020. And we still have the early childhood and the human services here, as well as other economic and workforce development classes that we have, as you saw from Alan Young with our Small Business Center. We have college services at the center. We have a full-time advisor that will be here a few days out of the week. That's a new addition that we had, so we appreciate that. We also have an open computer lab that's available to students and to the public. That's unique, that is only here at the Mazie Woodruff Center. So we still have that available. Together with instructional and economic and workforce development programs, student services at the Mazie Woodruff Center, we are ready to soar into the future to be a catalyst for equitable economic mobility, empowering lives, and transforming communities, our community. Thank you.
A little bit about artist Leo Rucker,
my new best friend. Where's Leo grew up in the Winston-Salem area near Carver Road, and he knows the Woodruff family well. He's best friends with one of the grandsons. So he was an easy choice when we were looking at who would help us to design and capture Mrs. Woodruff's vision. He actually did this portrait that's also posted in the library next door. And so that was the inspiration for the picture that we wanted to use. He talked about and shared with me how he didn't really fully understand all the work that was going on when he was a young man. But as he grew older, he began to understand the impact of Mrs. Woodruff's life, and he's honored to be a part of creating this mural that depicts what she stood for, and also it's inspiration of the things that she stood for that you'll see shortly. So he's done other works in the city, and he's currently working for Old Salem, and he'll tell you a little bit more about some of the things he's done. So at this moment, I present to some and introduce to others Mr. Leo Rucker. Words?
I'll be real brief because so much has been said, and the video and everybody's statements and comments really just speaks to what we actually will see in a few minutes. So very little that I can say is that because of knowing the family, growing up with one of the grandsons named Kevin, we went to school together and we would hang out and midnight hours, sometimes them wait in the back of the parents' house, listening to music. So it has been an amazing journey just to really be connected to this inspiration individual, and just to really look back and how now, as a young man, I'll say, has allowed me to really make an impact as well through my creative and godly given talent. So I am truly, ecstatic as I sit back there and listen to all the stories and watch the video. It was like, Leo, what do you say? I mean, I really don't know what to say because there's so much, that's there to be said. And the best way for me to say it is to actually unveil the mural and really have to understand, how she impacted me, through all these stories that I was able to bring to life through my art. And you'll see that in a few minutes. So thank you again for coming out, and just opportunity to see so many people here that really, now we know that she has impacted your lives as well as you have matured over time period also. So thank you again. I'm so excited, but at the same time nervous as well. So here we go.
Thank you so much. I'm going to tell you a little bit about next steps. We're going to, in a few moments, transition to the lobby for the unveiling, and then we'll have the benediction there, and then remarks from Dr. Spriggs before we actually eat. But we're going to invite you to join and continue community over a meal. Our amazing food service team, led by Orion Warren, has prepared a wonderful meal, and they will be serving in room 110. So I'd like to personally pause right now to thank Student Life and Engagement for sponsoring the meal. I do want to pause one more time to thank the amazing team, Trevor and John, and volunteer Cameron, for helping us put these videos together. And thank you all for not running when you saw me coming. You looked awesome, by the way. So now we're going to ask that the Woodruff family and Dr. Spriggs would transition out first through these doors and to position themselves in front of the mural, and then we'll gradually, all of us will transition as well. Once the mural has been revealed and Dr. Spriggs has shared any comments and things of that nature, remarks rather, we would also ask that you would transition right down the hall to room 110, but we're going to go in on the side where security is. So if you're walking down the hall, that would be your right. And then we're going to leave out of that door and come back into this space here. There are some tables reserved back there for the Woodruff family, but we also have other tables that will be transitioned in here while we're out there. So we'll have to work together as a team to make that happen. And again, I just want to thank everyone for being here. My family's here, Wade. Thank you all for being here, my sister and my sons, my brother-in-law. And then I also want to say, if there are any Forsyth Tech graduates here, if they would please stand. Thank you all so much for being here. So at this time, and we will have Reverend Alvin Carlisle to do the benediction and blessing of the food in the lobby area. So at this time, if Dr. Spriggs and the Woodruff family would transition out this door, we'll get you positioned, and then if everyone else would pause, then we'll transition on down.
All right, so when she said she wanted everybody to say, I am Mrs. Woodruff. If you want to come, just squeeze in here. I don't think everybody knows how to do and we're just going to do this more that way, everybody have an opportunity to kind of relax and just take a good look at it, take a picture. The main thing is getting it as well. Again, thank you everybody for so, if I represent